computer, your mobile device, just head on over to SuperTalk TV. You'll see I'm not alone in the studio anymore. Joining me are Joel and Meredith Travelstead. They're helping to bring revival to the Metro Jackson area. I think that's a good thing with the Go Tell Crusade. So welcome, y'all.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, before I ask how you got involved in this, first let's set the stage with how would you describe this? So when someone hears Go Tell Crusade or bringing revival to our area, they're all going to get excited. I feel like our group here on Good Things will anyway. But so exactly what is it? What is this that's coming to our area?
Well, that's a great question. It starts with, especially depending on the age of who's listening, if you're familiar with Billy Graham crusades, that's really what it looks like. The 4 weeks of the crusade, the 4 days of the crusade looks like a Billy Graham crusade, large outdoor amphitheater over in Brandon, and it's 4 nights that build on themselves, and very much a Billy Graham style crusade. What would you say?
I'm a little younger than that. I know Billy Graham.
I was going to say, it depends on your age.
I don't think I was around for a crusade.
Right. When you said revival, I think that is the idea behind it. Crusade is the kind of mixed connotations and people don't quite understand it, but really it's sharing the good news that Jesus Christ wants to bring us from darkness to light, the lost that are far away from God, into his family, the family of Jesus. And that is really happening all over our country. You can see it on college campuses. And as we've worked through this crusade, we realize, wow, these are not spontaneous things happening. These are people praying for the Holy Spirit to come and bring, as you said, revival. And it's an excitement that reaches people that may not come in the doors of a church. We live in a Bible Belt, but we found out through this that 80% of our metro Mississippi area is unchurched. So this is reaching people that don't necessarily feel comfortable and aren't actually going into the church walls to find Jesus, and we are taking the message of Jesus to them.
Absolutely. It's also the timing couldn't be any better. It's an incredible time right now because, you turn on the news for 5 seconds and the culture, it feels like the culture's falling apart. There are all these changes. There's so much happening in the world, and especially towards our youth. Our youth sense that. They feel that. But what's interesting is Meredith and we've worked with youth for many, many years. We also teach adults, but we work with youth through our home a lot of times. We have them over to our house. We do Bible studies, things like that. And what's fascinating is how many kids are revisiting what they were told in Sunday school, what they were told by their parents, and they're coming back and realizing this culture doesn't have a whole lot to offer them. And you're seeing
that's encouraging.
Yeah. But you're seeing all these Bible studies and all these kids coming together, and it's grassroots. It's not happening from the top down. It's not happening from necessarily a church or a pastor or youth director saying, hey, y'all should do this. It's happening from them. I can't tell you the number of just spontaneous high schools, junior high even, Bible studies that are starting all up grassroots because kids are looking for answers. To take a quote from the movie
Jesus Revolution.
Jesus Revolution. They're looking for all the right things in all the wrong places. And this generation is figuring that out. So they're starting to, hey, let's take a second look back at the right place. And we as the church, we have that answer. We have it in Jesus Christ. We have it in what it means to be a disciple of this unique, unbelievable rabbi from 2,000 years ago. Seems old school, but it's not. It's the answer to this generation's questions.
And what did Jesus do best? He got outside of the church walls and went to the people with his message, right? And I feel like that, again, liking that that you didn't choose, or the place was chosen that was just a little more less or I guess they would have less defense about coming into like the amphitheater versus, and and adding that part that it's focusing on the youth to bring friends that may not would have come to just Sunday service with them and sort of seeing what that is. You guys are focusing on the youth, but this isn't just for youngsters, right? You mentioned 4 days, so there's a lot going on 4 days. So how is it kind of going to unfold? Because this is coming up October 15th through the 18th at the Brandon Amphitheater.
Well, we first of all, this is a multi-denominational, all who name the name of Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior effort. So over 200 plus churches from around the metro area, from Madison to Jackson to Brandon, Pearl, Clinton, outside of this area, we have some coming from Brookhaven, from Scott County, where this crusade took place in 2019, which we'll get to that. But so this is a national organization that comes in, but it is a group effort from all these churches around our metro area. And they are inviting their friends, and they're canvassing neighborhoods. There's been a prayer team, there's an outreach team, and we still need actually volunteers to help receive, hopefully, the harvest of people making decisions those 4 nights. So the 4 nights of the crusade are October 15th through the 18th, Sunday through Wednesday. However, we're excited because we're the youth team leaders. The youth rally is this Sunday night at the Pearl Auditorium on Marianne Drive in Pearl. There will be, we hope, over 800 kids there.
What's the age, appropriate age?
Middle school and high school. And they will have games to play, music, Christian rappers, worship music. They'll have a great message, and then they'll
Tons
go
of free
out.
pizza.
Oh, free pizza!
Don't forget
Exactly.
the free pizza. Yeah,
So that's the kickoff really for the youth. Is a youth rally, and we have youth ministers and parents from all around the metro area who will bring their kids to give them the vision, to commission them to go back to their schools and invite their lost friends.
Yeah, and that's the key to what the youth rally is about. The youth rally, again, is this coming Sunday. Again, we need volunteers, but this coming Sunday, and the whole point is to bring basically your Christian kids, the kids that are in youth groups, that are attending church, that kind of thing. You bring them in and you tell them what the entire crusade's all about, and then you commission 800 little missionaries to go back into their schools, back into their sports teams, back into their neighborhoods to build momentum for the 2 weeks later. So it's really exciting. I was there this morning setting up the audio visual with the whole team of audio visual people. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be top drawer.
So you got all 82 counties in Mississippi listening to good things. And so if they feel like, well, I got left out, nobody come to my church.
Drive on down.
Okay.
Drive on down.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things
Open
where
to
even
everyone.
if this is your first time of hearing about this great thing, because the Brandon Amphitheater can hold you. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's
8,000 seat amphitheater.
And we'd like to see that completely.
We would love that.
Standing room only. So is there somewhere, like if they have a youth group or they, a church, not within the already sort of premises, can reach out to or get in touch with?
Yes, if you go online, it's Metro Mississippi or MS, metromsgotell.com. metromsgotell.com. There's a place to volunteer. There's a place to get all the dates and times and information. And we would love to have people jump on at the last minute. We're so excited about what God will do.
Well, when you talk about youth, we know from just about anything, youth empower youth. Adults really don't have a whole lot of
Absolutely.
authority. I mean, we have authority, but not necessarily to change hearts and minds.
Right.
So, having them sort of be able to connect with their peers or have the courage to connect with their peers, I think is also a good thing that will last past, just this sort of upcoming crusade. You said this happened in 2019. Where did it take place then?
So in 2019, in Scott County in Forest, Mississippi, there were a handful of people who had been involved with Rick Gage at his summer youth camps. And he is an evangelist nationally, and he has a whole team in this Go Tell America. And if the kids come to this youth crusade, they will have the opportunity to be a part of his camps in the summer for free. So that's another great thing.
And he's been doing this for like 20 years. This is not new at all. He's been around for.
He has a great
most youth pastors would be familiar with him.
So Rick Gage, and they nationally go usually to smaller towns like Forest, Mississippi, and they had over 600 decisions for Christ in Scott County, Mississippi. Talking to the people that were a part of that, they said it was life-changing, and the ripple effects spread all over that community. And so the people that prayed and wanted this crusade to come here have been working on it and praying for it even before COVID, and COVID slowed it down. But the two co-chairs are Percy Thornton and Chip Miskelly. they have a great vision for this.
And it's coming to life. That's going to be October 15th through 18th at the Brandon Amphitheater, the Metro Mississippi Go Tell Crusade. We got more with the Travelsteads coming to the radio station. We're continuing our conversation here with Joel and Meredith Travelstead. They are heading up at least the youth portion of the upcoming Go Tell Crusade, and I call it Bringing Revival to Metro Jackson area. That's going to be October the 15th through the 18th. It says Metro Jackson area. If you're not familiar with that, that's a big area. So the actual event is happening at the Brandon Amphitheater. It's a 4 days, the 15th through the 18th, but it's open to all whose ears can hear. And
Absolutely.
So it's just a short drive for many of you. And I know we're all geared up right now to sort of reach our youth and to just reach people and sort of get back to what we know should be, what our community should be founded on, or the foundations within our communities. So, this isn't the first time this has happened, and I think there's more going on. So, Meredith, tell me about Georgia.
So when I mentioned earlier, this is a national crusade team that goes all over the country, but it's grassroots driven in each local area. So we have the opportunity to see this happening right before us in another state, right next door in Georgia. And they, in a small town called Baxley, Georgia, they have just finished their crusade, and they're about a month ahead of us. So when they first had their youth rally, Joel and I were listening and watching, and we saw that they had 600 kids, all right, at their youth rally. And then of those 600, 300 made professions of faith.
And remember, that's the youth rally 2 weeks before the crusade. So that's the kickoff youth rally.
And so you expect that to be the youth leadership teams, but actually we were able to rejoice that 300 came to salvation at that time. And then 2 weeks later, their crusade numbers were huge. They had 1,600 decisions for Christ.
Right. Just like we were talking about in the break, people understand there are just issues in our culture right now, and they're having a hard time putting their finger on what it is, exactly what it is. But it's the perfect opportunity, like we were talking about earlier, it's a perfect opportunity to say, we can tell you what it is. Call back, come back to faith. Those things Grandma used to tell you about, come back. And the answers are there. And so that's what this generation is ready to hear that message.
It's been so great to see, like I said, over 200 churches from around our area partner together from all walks of faith, from all races and denominations, and just coming together to under the way the church, the ecclesia, the called out ones are supposed to be, taking Jesus Christ to the nations.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot. Revelation chapter 5, where the description of the throne room, and it says every nation, tongue, every person of all walks of life together worshiping. That's what we're supposed to look like.
So what will it look like when you talk about worshiping? So we're going to get to the crusade there on the 15th through the 18th. I know there's several days. Is the same thing happening every day? Or what if we can only come in one day? Is there a specific day you would rather us come in than another? Or how is that going to work?
I'm not sure if I remember all the emphasis. Each night has an emphasis. I think Sunday is the family night. Monday is first responders. They'll honor first responders. And Tuesday night is Bring a Friend night.
I think so.
And then, of course, we're partial to the final night is the youth night. And we have to throw this in that if a youth is present and registers and comes, they have the opportunity to win a free car.
That's from Noel Daniels.
That's
donated a car.
Donated a car. Yeah. So there will be some lucky youth that night who wins a free car. And there'll be some other fun giveaways that night.
But you ask what night. If you could only come to one, I would say, this is going to sound funny, but that first Sunday night. The reason, let's say that you're in town, but then you're going to be out of town the rest of the week. I want you to come Sunday night. These things generally build. That'll probably be the smaller crowd that first night, but you'll get a sense for what's happening. Then you tell all your friends. So the people that can come early can then get the word out.
Which is what we're trying to do here if you're just tuning in. I mean, this to me is just a great thing. You can't deny that, that we need more community coming together. You need more churches of all different denominations laying aside their differences that don't really matter and getting into the communities and bring them out, because we're right now our communities are hurting. Our people are hurting, our children are hurting, and it's going to take us all sort of standing for what we'll all agree on to sort of give them a chance.
That reminds me that this is not only just the crusade itself, but these teams are also going into schools where they're allowed to give a school assembly, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Young Life, where they're going into schools and having assemblies for kids. And so they're reaching kids that maybe would not be able to come to the crusade or go to church.
Right. And the assembly in the schools, it's a secular message, because a lot of public schools in particular, you have to be careful there. But it's a message that's been around for a long time. And but it's a secular, make good choices, talking about the things that face youth today, teen suicide, drugs, alcohol, that kind of thing. And then they get to invite them to the crusade, at the end of the assembly. But it's a wonderful, very positive assembly. So we've knocked on a lot of doors, and that's still happening.
And they also go into the prisons.
Yep, prisons.
They're going into several prisons to minister to men and women incarcerated. So it's a whole team effort, and multiple days, multiple places.
You know what? I want to throw one other little quick thing out there too, because a lot of people, this could be a criticism. Well, what happens? You get people excited. These people are saved, and then you drop them off.
You just take them back home.
You just drop them off.
Throw them back home.
That's one thing. This team does.
They got a new car. One's getting home fine.
Exactly. One's going to make it. But there is an entire process of follow up. There'll be their names will be distributed to the various churches that they live by to be able to follow up and disciple these folks who make decisions. So this isn't a 4-day and you're done. Those who make decisions and want to plug in with other believers, they'll have lots of opportunity.
But that's also where your local churches have to start to step up and welcome people in to be discipled further from that, right? Like, this is an opportunity for those that would never come, and then would not allow them to fall through the cracks. You have to be willing to be open and receptive.
And they may not look exactly like you. They may not dress exactly like you, but we do not care.
But either way, that seed would have been sown, and the rippling effect from that is just undeniable. So, yes, that is a valid criticism, but don't let that fear keep things like this from happening in our communities.
Amen. And we have if you go on the website to volunteer, we do need more volunteers to actually counsel the Knights of the Crusade, those who've come to Christ, and then they train you. There are Zoom calls, there are in-person trainings. If you don't feel comfortable or not sure you know what to say, you're not going to be on an island. You will have people there to help you. And if you feel like, wow, this is a way I might want to share my faith one-on-one, or talk to a young kid who's making a decision for Christ, what joy could you have doing that night? We don't want anyone to miss it.
Absolutely.
Who knocked on y'all's door for this?
Percy Thornton. Yeah, Percy Thornton. It's a neat story. Meredith, tell that story.
Well, we were having another ministry in our home, and Percy happened to be there. Joel had worked on a school ministry opportunity with him.
Yeah, I got to know Percy like maybe 2 months before this, but just generally, just a few meetings, and we both agreed, this is a great ministry opportunity, so we were doing that. Then he walks into our house.
And we had already had a burden for our youth. We have 3 boys and one still in high school, and just looking at our kids today and what they have to face, social media and all the anxiety, depression, alcohol, drugs, everything they face coming at them from different directions. So we were just talking to Percy, and he's like, well, there's going to be a youth crusade. Go Tell Crusade. Let me tell you about it.
And the minute he told us about it, we're like, we're in.
We're in. I want to be like Percy when I grow up. I hope I'm as on fire for the Lord as he is.
Yeah. And so he said, so it started off just, good, y'all come help us. So, we started helping. Then it said, hey, can you be a part of this banquet? We were a part of the banquet. Can you invite some people to the banquet? We did that. Next thing you know, would you be in charge of all the youth? So there we are.
We didn't know what you were saying.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were saying yes to.
But it's easy to be on fire whenever you see it move.
Yes. It is. It's so encouraging to see so many different people from around this metro area, people we didn't know before, and all coming together, like you said.
I like what you just said about when you just see it. Meredith was interviewing a youth pastor last night, and he was involved in the crusade that happened in Scott County. And I love the way he said it. He said, even though a lot of churches tend to be a little bit slow, are we sure we want to get involved, that kind of thing. To help me with his perspective was, they come in, one thing every Christian, every youth group out there, every pastor out there, they're going to hear the gospel. You're going to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. He said, why wouldn't you take part when the ball is put on the tee and all you have to do is hit it? And that's what this is. The ball's going to be put on the tee for 4 nights. They're going to hear the gospel, hear the answer to what's happening in our culture right now. That ball is sitting on the tee. We need people to show up and knock that thing off the tee.
That is a perfect way to wrap this up. Thank you so much for what you guys are doing. If you want to, you need to go to metromsgotell.com and be a part of it. That is October the 15th through the 18th. Wherever ears are hearing, you are welcome to come and sort of join. So I can't wait to see the fruits of all of y'all's labor in this. But you guys stick with this. We got a few more good things for you coming up next.